Hello, welcome back to my tea garden. It was very nice having you back. Today's day number 2 on this reading adventure. Let's see what happens next. Yesterday I met Danny, and today we'll have some more adventures. Let's see what that is all about. Are you ready? I am. All right, let's go. Then, a few months after my connection with Danny, 3 months before my 5th anniversary to be exact, little Linda, as a next awareness life toolbox ingredient, for the first time got introduced to a time to say goodbye moment, which showed her that any vessel in our sphere on Earth can permanently disappear from one second to another. Boah, what? Well, and this reality check definitely left a little mark on my soul, as the vanished vessel turned out to be my beloved father's, who ended up departing on his own terms after a for him rather difficult living on Earth game ride experience. Blessing, love, always. Of course, his sudden disappearance added a quite unexpected twist to my mom's and to my own inner and outer journeys here on Mother Earth, and the whole, from others called tragedy, had me take until very recently to fully grasp, understand, and embrace. Yup, the one thing that my soul instinctively knew, though, as soon as I learned from my mother that my father instantly started to live with the angels, was that this new setup happened to be the best for everyone involved, as the marriage between my parents had been inharmonious for quite some time. Out of my child's perspective, this solution therefore simply felt right and had me prefer it over a rather complicated and dramatic seemingly divorcing occasion which most likely would have taken place along of our travels as a wartenweiler unit instead. In addition to this sudden separation option, my soul further instinctively knew, and still does to this very day, that my father never actually left and that his soul still remains amongst us. That's right. Which truth further meant to little Linda that he now would be able to accompany my living on Earth game journey tirelessly from a first row seat, day in, day out, and watch over me from his non-physical existence. Yay! And so it is. Love. And therefore, accompanied by this instant inner knowledge of mine, I never caught myself shedding a tear over this tragedy at hand, until some circumstances in my late 30s triggered little Linda to do so, which I will happily share with you, my dear fellow co-traveler, at its perfect arising now moment. Oh yeah. Now, finding one parent on the other side to me always brought along the advantage of having the most loving and protecting guide possible around at all times, no matter what. Ha! This transformed father version I therefore quickly adapted and accepted as my new reality, including normality, and made me forget quite fast how it felt like to have Earth around me as he used to. To this day, I therefore always find myself very happy whenever certain elements spontaneously are able to trigger his physical existence back into my head cinema, when only for a few seconds. A walnut, a bolognese omelette, a Ducati motorcycle, a sidecar motorcycle, a light blue Gauloise Corporal cigarette package, and a 70s Oldsmobile were some of his own so-called fun facts items, and proudly little Linda finds herself sharing some of them with him. Yay! In regards of my father's early disappearance, I therefore ever since experienced quite interesting reactions, sides my opposites, as soon as they learn about his passing. Comments like, "Oh, I'm so sorry for your loss, Linda," or "I'm so sorry to hear that," are the most common ones, especially during the first 2 decades of my travels, as my normality seemed to be an abnormality for others. even though my soul always ungrowingly appreciated this very nice reaction gesture, I ever since that day instantly catch myself jumping ahead, assuring that there is nothing to be sorry about, and that things are perfectly well the way they are and always will be. Well, for little Linda at least. Yep. To me, being raised by a female parent and to therefore having a mom only equals the exact same reality as of being an only child. The thought of having a real sibling, for instance, causes a weird effect to my awareness, and the same way I do meanwhile also feel towards having a father existing in a vessel in this physical realm of ours. Surely my curiosity at times gets triggered, during which I would love to experience both versions as a sneak peek special effect option, especially now in my adulthood. Well, and this adventure, of course, shall remain a mystery of its own in this my living on Earth game ride, and therefore am finding my soul very grateful to have been given the opportunity to connect with my Dannies and with some few others so early on instead, who ended up filling those so-called sibling spots perfectly well. Love. Alongside with my father's sudden disappearance, there of course instant further changes welcomed themselves into our world, especially for my brave and strong mother. With her then only 25 years young vessel, she certainly got introduced to a lot of inner and outer appearing pressure, and with an intense reality shift on her end. Looking back, I must admit that my mom did perform an incredible job, managing both of our lives all on her own under the given circumstances. Right here, I want to express my big respect, admiration, and gratitude for all that she has achieved for the both of us. Danke, Mami. Blessing. Always. Now, as my parents at that time owned a taxi company in Amriswil, my mom, of course, had to take care of this business even more so. Now that there only were the two of our vessels left. With that, naturally, the question came up of how to the best way possible take care of little Linda. Was she found herself being busy making a living for the both of us, by simultaneously also trying to find a way of dealing and adjusting her quite shaken inner world with the very limited available helping resources at hand. In regards of my caretaking, our building luckily accompanied this great and lovely family, which included 3 girls in my age range, who were willing to become my daycare foster family whenever my mom found herself busy experiencing all her many taxi adventures. Interestingly, the mother of this family turned out to be this nice neighbor who ended up revealing my secret to Rita after this wonderful sledding adventure from a few months prior. Ha! Even though my soul liked spending time with my newly gained siblings and family members quite a lot, I recall that those morning handing over transitions presented themselves from a rather dramatic, challenging side at first, as only the thought of being separated from my beloved mother as well awoke a lot of resistance within my vessel. Sometimes it bothered me so much that I almost gave her no choice as to bring me along to her many taxi driving adventures. Of course, that decision always made me the happiest girl on the planet, and the world immediately turned into a magical place again. Yay! During these taxi driving days, I always would keep myself busy with solving children's crossword puzzles, with studying all her many traveling guests, and with enjoying my mother's presence and our random rides to the fullest. Educational, those days definitely constantly ended up being. Wink. Even though I got introduced to this initial handing over resistance of mine, I at some point came to realize that this new reality check of being exposed to another family interpretation actually brought along quite some great advantages. These 5 days per week adventures within my daycare foster family's lifestyle granted me my very first opportunity to experience how it feels like to be part of an intact and harmonious family as it is perceived from society. Yup. Ruth, to me, very much represented the perfect housewife and mother, and always seemed to be very happy of taking care of the entire household, the grocery shopping, the cooking, the assisting each one of us with our homework if needed, and with also looking after her father, who used to live in a tiny neighbor village called Hevenhofen, and who for years joined us daily for lunch as well. The Father Connie I usually would only experience during lunchtime and then again at the end of his workday. Out of my perspective, he always played his father part perfectly well too. Early on, I actually established a lot of respect towards his mostly calm-floating soul, as he had this ability to raise his voice to a very strong and loud level whenever there appeared a need for him to bring his boundaries and points across for us young ladies. Thankfully, this to me rather frightening outburst only happened here and there, and I certainly made triple sure to stick to my foster parents' boundaries and rules as much as possible while my vessel found itself amongst theirs. At this point, little Linda definitely happened to be way out of practice of being confronted by a loud male voice indeed. Smile. Another plus factor that this foster family opportunity brought along turned out for me to experience a reality in which my Linda vessel actually would be having 3 siblings, another set of parents, and a third opa. Ha! Welcome to the magical world of acting. Yay! Besides finding myself mostly exposed to Connie's and Ruth's upbringing style, my mom definitely made sure to continuously and simultaneously also pass me along the proper guidance and rules from our wartenweiler home whenever the both of our souls spend time with one another. Lots of freedom within its strict attached boundaries and its clear given roadmap of how to approach and complete certain things in this living on earth game ride I definitely had been giving from the get-go. To work hard, to be committed, respectful, disciplined, grateful, honest, punctual, responsible, correct, and reliable are amongst those many further useful life toolbox ingredients that my dear mother passed her little Linda along throughout our 2 decades of living as a unit. Thank you. Another to me very useful parenting choice turned out to be that, even though I am an only child, she would still remain as quite strict whenever it came to buying me things. Yup. As soon as my soul picked up on her saving and down-to-earth spending attitude, I as a result quickly came to learn about my boundaries as of how far I could be traveling with any of my wishes. Of course, on certain occasions, I would test my luck on how far I would be able to stretch those limits, especially whenever my requests happened to be of utmost importance to my own soul. Wink. And yes, on those glorious days, my mom mostly would grant me my extended wishes after the successful application of my special trick convincing techniques, as she by then became to understand how important those wishes were for little Linda. Love. Now, in regards for me to get in touch with my own money and its value experience, my mom early on started to hand me a 5 Swiss franc coin, which equals about $5 that features our folk hero William Tell on it. each Saturday, and then it was up to me what I made out of this just given treasure. Now guess where I ended up with this silver coin lesson? Ha! Each week I actually found myself able to keep some Rappen cents in my red and white saving sock, which I knitted in my second grade crafting class. Yay! This tactic very much turned out to be a success formula for me to see what it takes to actually own the money first, in order for it to then be spent on any of my equivalent appearing desires afterwards. This lesson definitely convinced my soul as a very glorious choice, and to this day, little Linda finds herself practicing the exact same saving and spending habit to her fullest satisfaction. Hooray! What I further loved about my given freedom from my hard-working mother was that whenever she found herself either busy making a living for the two of us, with the completion of our household, or simply felt the need to physically rest after a long day or week, she would always allow for my vessel to be part of my friendly neighbor's adventures when requested from my end. Meaning that whenever one of my, with time further extended family members, invited me over to their house, to one of their family trips, excursions, or for some other fun activities, my mom instantly would allow little Linda to be part of this just presented opportunity, so that my inner adventuress could explore more of this big wild world out there. A spread your wings, my child, and fly high attitude definitely was and still happened to be her overall encouraging and loving attitude towards our relationship. Ever since our two souls first connected on that early May morning in the mid-1970s. Yep! Happily, little Linda therefore finds herself stating that her beloved mother always made triple sure that she played her two-in-one inherited mother-father part perfectly well, and so she did to me always. Thank you. As soon as I felt ready to accept this new wartenweiler setup for what it was, my inner adventuress, as a result, instantly felt prompted to continue her many explorations in my still fairly new neighborhood. Quickly, I therefore came to learn that there happened to be 4 more girls and another blonde-eyed boy living in our street called Parkweg. Manuela and Nicole built one set of sisters, Simon and Maya another, which all turned out to be residing in each a different house right next to my apartment building, and the boy Marco conveniently vacated the apartment right across from my door on the 3rd floor before he and his mom moved into another house across the street right next to Simon's and Maya's a few months later. Interestingly, all the girls' families ended up having both sets of parents intact, living as a unit, as I already experienced it with my foster family, and Marco's family's portrait appeared exactly in the same divorced kind as Danny's. In Marco, whose vessel counts 3 years more than mine, I quickly found another very fun and definitely quite courageous, daring, and with life-filled playmate, whom my soul instantly felt drawn to spend time with as well. His soul certainly left a, from my end just now, realized quite impressive impact on mine, and actually ended up unknowingly introducing little Linda to her quite inspiring way of interpretation of how this living on earth game ride can be approached as well. Always follow your heart's desires as radiant as possible by ensuring to keep on pushing any presented boundaries with a living life to its fullest possible approach, and to therefore absolutely never take no for an answer, no matter what, as not even the sky's the limit attitude is definitely what Marco's soul always communicated to mine, and certainly still does to this day. Boom! Genius! Thank you, Marco, for sharing, and know that little Linda definitely ended up applying your wise wisdom on and off up until today. Yeah! A few years down the road, though, all my many other found playmates and I unfortunately had to let go of this wild soul as Marco's mother decided to relocate their vessels closer to the Lake Constance, which left me with a new opportunity to practice this at times as rather sad and uncomfortable appearing time to say goodbye moment exercise. Bye-bye. Oof. A funny twist that this early on bonding took, though, turned out to be that in our 20s, the two of our vessels unknowingly ended up being neighbors anew in my future home called Botikhofen, which certainly had this coincidence unfold itself into a wonderful mini PROjECT flashback reunion, only now as almost adults. Ha! My soul certainly felt very happy to have been given one of my very first collected family and friendly and inspiring extended family members so close by again, at least for some time. Life is good. Smile. Synchronically, while finding myself busy making friends with dear Danny, Marco, Helen, Andrea, and Cornelia, little Linda, of course, also kept on exploring all those many other presented playmates, including their families, in order to grow and to prosper as fast as possible. Very soon, those 4 other souls grew on mine as well, quite a lot, and together, each one of us PROjECT kiddies transformed our street into a quite fun, magical, loud, and adventurous playground. Ha! With time, little Linda therefore found herself able to even broaden her extended family member experience into an additional 2 set of families located within a very close by radius, which provided me with many more valuable insights into the world of how an intact and loving family further can feel and look like. Over those many magical 2 PROjECT decades, I therefore found myself able to attract an unexpected amount of total 2 brothers, 7 sisters, 4 more moms, 3 dads, and 1 more oppa into my This Linda Living on Earth game adventure. Pwah! Who would have thought? Yay! Very grateful and bonded, my soul and heart therefore always will remain feeling towards each one of them, as every member kept treating me as if I would be one of theirs. Love. Later on, throughout my travels, little Linda then, with lots of joy, actually came to learn that some of those wonderful neighbor parents happened to have known my father even before my arrival into this earthy sphere, and this information flow instantly explained to me why they integrated my vessel even more so well into their own world. Gratitude. Looking back, I must admit that this quite diverse parenting upbringing of mine definitely caused a wonderful shift in regards of my whole world perspective, which still serves my many travels wonderfully well to this very day. Yup. With this game starting out set up, I early on received the opportunity to practice my adaptability and flexibility to each family's environment as the good sister and daughter character, and so further established my ability of using and developing my charm and learning skills to my experience most effective way possible. Ha! As soon as little Linda trusted it to her new thrown-in situation full on, her actress within then quickly began to study all the many new appearing rules, lifestyles, talk, and behaviors around those presented strangers in order then fit in as smoothly as possible, which results left me with a Linda feels and is at home everywhere remark delivered from other souls. Smile. And so it is, was, and still is to this day. Yup. Wherever my vessel is traveling to, my soul usually seems to seemingly melt in within a heartbeat, and therefore Linda wartenweiler found herself throughout these past few decades able to extend her family collection onto other countries and even to this magical the other planet formation. Woohoo! And thank you! This is how we did it. After some more exploring, growing, and after getting to know all my neighbor playmates better and better, Danny, Maya, Cornelia, Manuela, and Nicole, and my vessel, as of our close birth years, rather quickly, instinctively transformed ourselves into a solid and very tight gang who ended up ruling our streets of its finest for many years. Oh yeah! While doing so, my perfectly gained playmates and I would spend as much time together as possible and always found ourselves busy giving birth to many adventures, games, and priceless memories into our own big and magical created universe throughout the following decade. What I really loved about our gang happened to be that we all showed each other the needed respect, honored one another's opinions and feelings for the most part, and therefore got along pretty well. Of course, we experienced disagreements and some small fights here and there, as it simply occurs whenever souls spend so much time together. Smile. Thankfully, we always found ourselves able to swiftly find a peaceful solution towards a mutual happy ending, which then allowed us to create some further fun memories as a unit. Oof. The only somewhat unfortunate soul turned out to be the youngest, Nicole, who certainly got a little bit bullied by our gang. Oops! With youngest, I am referring to a 5 years less count than to our oldest member, Danny, which reality check very often happened to play against her and in our 5 favors instead. Her from everyone at that time perceived big age gap truth certainly turned out to be the reason why Nikki naturally got picked to play pranks with, to get cheated on during any game at hand, or to simply have her make do things that her soul very much so disagreed with. Then, as soon as her vessel turned old enough to figure out what really was going on behind the scenes, she, as a revenge act, suddenly started to get smart on us in return. Ha! Whenever Nikki picked up on our pranks, this little one's souls then instantly would come to the conclusion that enough was enough, which reality update then led her to disengage from our group with a "Hey guys, I need to use the bathroom, I'll be right back" action move. Her vessel then immediately walked herself home and kept us waiting and waiting and waiting until one of us lost its patience. We then, as a next step, would send Manuela after our missed playmate in order to find out why it would take her sister so long to return. Manu then either would ring the doorbell or walk to her house, and from either chosen option, we always were given the exact same "Nicole is watching TV and decided to stay in for today" result. Which got provided by either their mother via the window or through Manuela after her vessel's return. Boom! Yup, she learned from the best and made those payback time moments appear in its perfect light. Ha! Good for her. My probably meanest prank on Nikki that my soul recalls is the one on that day during which some street workers finished fixing and smoothing out a few street holes on our beloved PROjECT. As this day blessed us with warm summer temperatures, my gang and I therefore, as usual, enjoyed our escapes into our own magical universe in bare feet, as this naked touch simply enhanced our whole outdoors experience. Smile. Now, as soon as my eyes espied a still quite moist tar spot from those street workers on the ground, a wonderful idea immediately popped into my head. Kindly, I therefore found myself asking Nicole to close her eyes, with the instructions that I needed to show her something really amazing. After some stubborn convincing undertaken attempts from my end that she could truly trust me on this one and that I had good intentions only, Nikki then hesitantly gave in by probably only granting me half of her trust, even if, LOL. My lovely playmate then allowed my hand to cover her eyes, whilst my vessel began leading hers towards my espied tar spot. What? Yes. And as soon as her right foot stepped into the chosen trap, I quickly came to realize that my eyes oversaw her mom observing the whole scenario from a first row seat placed within the open kitchen window right next to our vessels. Poops, of course. Anita immediately started scolding little Linda the second that she picked up on what I was doing to her daughter. Unhappy about my deed, Nicole's mom then ordered for my soul to clean the tar off the little one's foot. Okay, you got it. Kindly, I of course obeyed, apologized by the two ladies, and asked Nicole to follow me to our laundry room, which was located in the basement of our apartment building. All the other gang members certainly followed the two of us well entertained, and everyone, except for my victim, kept on giggling over the whole established spectacle. Once our vessel arrived in the laundry room, I then of course continued my prank on my friend and ordered her to have a seat on the dryer right next to the sink. Equipped with a small brush and with some detergent powder, my hand then, as directed by her mother, rubbed the tar off her naked foot and found myself quite surprised about this little one's complaints of my apparently too rough cleansing approach. What? Wink. While Nicole kept herself busy with cursing at us, we all eventually received what we were looking for, and some more laughter resulted from our ends. LOL. Poor soul. We definitely granted our Nikki some tough moments during those days. This I am certain of. My apologies. Wink. Another Nikki procedure that we always had to perform as a must-do game plan was to have her vessel sit secluded in the dining room, whilst the rest of us enjoyed ourselves with watching horror movies at Danny's house. My BFF therefore simply would go ahead and mark our sacred space by closing the curtain in front of her face, which wonderfully was able to divide the living room area from the dining room one. Snap! This protection definitely happened to be a necessity, as the little one with time developed the tendency to call us out to our parents whenever we did something forbidden or wrong. Go figure, LOL. Oftentimes, though, Nicole got so tired of our mean behaviors that she instead silently would call in her famous pee breaks on us and simply sneak home without us noticing. Ha! Well done. Yes, I am sure that especially Danny and little Linda gave our beloved soul sister quite some challenging moments at times. Thankfully, though, we both always owned the wonderful skill of being nice and charming bullies, and this approach certainly must have added to the fact that Nicole kept on loving the both of us all along very much. Yep, it actually always astounded my soul of how attached we found our youngest gang member towards especially Danny and my own self, despite our mean kindness. True fact. Even after the two of our vessels embarked onto our high school journey, followed by our job education chapter, my BFF and I always experienced our dear Nicole quite eager to stay in touch with both of our souls, which leaves me assured that the little one certainly must have known all along herself about our priceless PROjECT sibling connection. Ha! Well, and the fact that the three of our souls, even though my vessel currently finds itself enjoying many magical adventures miles away from theirs on an even entirely different planet and universe, have continuously been sharing a close and trusting bond throughout each one's own living on Earth game ride experience to this very now moment, finds little Linda very blessed. Yay! And this reality check definitely proves to me that my BFF and I, after all, still found ourselves able to appear as kind and fair playmates, and that our beloved gang member only got some minor marks out of our fun bully playdays. Oof. Love always. All right, so that's it for today. I'm tired. I need a break. I think it's great to have 30 to 40 minutes because it's very tiring, and I'm not used to talk so much in a row because I'm used to not talk at all. So please excuse my breaks sometimes, but that's part of the exercise, and I know I'm getting better with every single day. All right? That's part of the growth and expansion journey. Okay, so that's it. I am wishing you whatever you want for today, and see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Thank you for being here.